required.
I have personal interest or investment in these
You have personal conflicts.
I don't like this.
I don't like anything that's not my idea. All right. Welcome to the Holladay City Planning Commission work meeting. It is January 20th, 2026. We have Commissioners Barrett, Gong, Cunningham, and Chair Roach present. Other commissioners have called out, and we have city staff here to help us go through the agenda items. All one of them, which is a public hearing for the vacation of a public street. Streets need more vacations, I think.
A lot of streets that can need to go on diets, is that what you're saying? Yeah, so over the past, I think 2 winters, we've been dealing with this dead-end road. Public Works has been dealing with this dead-end road, specifically for snow removal. We consistently push snow to the end of this dead-end road, and the neighbors have, you can see, enjoyed parking there for quite a while. And the maintenance of it has become put on the list for Jared's improvement projects. And you can see that it's obviously the asphalt surface has deteriorated quite a bit. And the property owners approached his engineering department to see if a majority of this road can be vacated and then rededicated to the abutting 2 properties. Engineering thought it was a fantastic idea. Fire department, the only concern was that they have at least enough room to turn a fire truck around in, which the new dimensions that have been proposed for review tonight reflects that. So engineering department does have a recommendation to vacate the northern half of 1720 East with a TRC review from the fire department maintaining access, and obviously from the long-range planning side, from the zoning side, there is no intent to continue this road as the subdivision to the north is already built out with the Crown Colony subdivision and the condos. So the action that's being requested by Planning Commission tonight is to hold a public hearing and hear from the applicants, which would be the property to the east, and make a recommendation to the City Council accordingly. The next step would be for the property owners to create a description, a survey description of this area, so that if the City Council does approve the vacation, that area can be rededicated or deeded to the budding property owners. And it'd be their responsibility to maintain that area.
And so is there not any other turnaround on Bunker Hill Road? Is that why the fire department wants that little chunk as opposed to just vacating the entire thing?
Bunker Hill's another dead end.
Well, I agree with Dennis. I think this extra thing doesn't make sense. Because they still have to back out, which fire department doesn't like doing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and there's still maintenance there, right? Like if the idea is let's vacate it so the city can save on all this money it's going to have to spend improving it, like get rid of the whole street or otherwise. Yeah, I get it. Like it's never going to be a road and I'm 100% on board, but it's just.
If we could connect to Highland Circle over there, this map doesn't show it very well. Let's see if there's another one. That would be ideal, and that could be a possibility of looking at in the future. But I believe that's a private road, and emptying a public street into a private road won't make sense.
And I mean, vacating that to the abutting property owners, I mean, what is that, like a 20 by 15 rectangle? Like, I don't know dimensions that well, but I mean, it's not like it's going to bump their property value way up, right?
No. There is ordinance that's even, I believe it's state law as well, that if it creates a windfall for the property owner, they would need to purchase it from the city. I don't, the extra land wouldn't create a new subdivision ability. They can't really use it to build on. So it would be essentially what they're using for it now is parking their trailers.
Does the property owner on the west have any interest in taking it? A half of that?
I think they have contacted them. You can ask them tonight to see if they're still interested. But as for now, that whole chunk would be deeded to the applicant. Which
Well,
is,
they're just gonna park more trailers there.
yeah,
It's
probably.
kind of unsightly. when
Todd
you walk
Porter.
past that.
Yeah. You know, and if it could be fenced with a gate that's opaque, that might be a more of an ideal situation.
So when they do the abandonment, they don't, the adjacent property owners don't usually pay for anything unless, I mean, how do you assess the value of a piece of right of way?
They have to assess it. They would go out and get 2 assessments that the council would choose. They would describe the property, and it'd be their responsibility to engage a land surveyor to deed it over to them.
And is that done before a final decision with city council, or?
No, that would be consistent with what if they do approve it, then it'd be subject to all that work being done.
Oh, I see.
So we won't require them to spend that much money and wait for a decision.
So that'd be one of the conditions?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Once, sorry, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Once so they could fence and gate it, can they also unroad it? Like come out, jackhammer out all the stuff and just turn it into yard?
Sure.
They can just do whatever they want
Yeah.
as long as it's theirs. Would that come before another approval process?
No, it wouldn't.
So it's basically just
Become-
right down the middle, and each side takes that property, right?
Yeah, they could just re-landscape it how they would want it.
Do they have to maintain any kind of right-of-way access for that telephone pole and box there in the corner of the picture?
Yeah, through the subdivision plat, so there's easement that would go around, they'd still maintain that easement to that pole, which would be pretty easy to do through a plat amendment.
I saw in there that they talked about maybe putting a sports court or something in. If they did that, wouldn't we need to protect the area that is now the fire turnaround from their parking there?
Yeah, if they did that, then what we would want is to have that permit pulled so that now the parking doesn't get displaced with a pickleball court and the parking comes back out
Right.
into 1720 East. I mean, yeah, there'd be conditions of that.
So that, yeah, and that would all be dealt with at another
Yeah.
point.
I mean, it would be helpful if you include that as a recommendation. Just say, hey, look,
Yeah,
if you're going to reuse this spot, it's obviously being used for trailer parking. What are you going to do with your trailers
Yeah.
when this basketball court
sign
gets
posted,
updated?
there's no parking fire lane or something.
Mhm.
Okay. So for the recommendations, I didn't see if we had anything printed for recommendations. Is that in the packet
There is a
somewhere?
packet. Actually had Justice do this packet for you, but he was unable to attend. Yeah, there is an example motion in there.
Okay.
Do you have a copy of that?
I don't, but we can share. Thanks.
As long as someone has a.
Okay. So recommended findings.
This says if it's approved, the owners to the west shall be consulted. They may have rights to the center line of the street, but they can refuse it and it would all go to the applicant on the east.
Mhm.
Interesting. How often do we do this? Like, it feels like a weird thing I don't like it, but it also seems low impact. What's the precedent for this, or what precedent would this set?
You do one, well, maybe even one a year. I haven't done very many, and I don't believe there's precedence. Usually, the TRC and the engineering department really has a strong opinion either way. And we do vet these through the city manager first before we even want to consider taking this through the process.
Mhm.
We have made that effort to engage the city manager on this, and she believes it's something that can be easily accommodated.
Because there's no big impact to the public interest or some,
Mhm. There really isn't. As long as we keep maintain health and safety with the turnaround, and the fire department likes the dimensions. We could even get further down the road and they could be shortened a little bit, but the standard is 60 feet from the center of Bunker Hill Road is the turnaround requirement. And that's what these graphics sort of represent.
Can we make them put trees in?
You know, that's not a bad idea. I mean, you could require that the same park strip element wrap the backside. That's not a bad idea. Even sidewalk, but the people would just cross there at the gutter. I don't think people would walk, unless it would be my grandma, she would walk all the way up there and back.
Right.
Just to get her steps in.
That would really depend on what it is that they want to use. If they want to put a sports court in, they probably don't want trees in the middle of it. And there won't be a public sidewalk in it.
I mean, you could say at least 2 trees somewhere within there. They both got to plant one, and if they can't fit it there, put it somewhere on their property. I don't know.
Yeah, if you were to recommend that a gate be installed, I think we could reasonably assume that a gate can accommodate 2 street trees, 1 on each corner.
If this gets vacated and they don't block off public access, is there some legal thing, somebody slips and falls, now it's theirs, do we have to worry about that at all?
If it does not?
If they don't block off access?
Oh, the plat would sort of be the recording instrument to sort of to memorialize the effort of doing converted from public to private. So I think we could at least fall back on that.
I mean, if you walk up Walker Lane and fall down, it's not city property, right?
Mhm.
I'm gonna fall down in some places.
I mean, if you're going to fall down Walker, don't fall down Bunker Hill, right?
But I think you can ask the property owners if they intend to fence off anything. Fencing off some, or making it a landscaping buffer would clearly define where the public realm ends and the private realm starts. Or something similar like that through
Maybe
landscaping.
we could just say that, in the case of a future permit, we'd like to consider restricted parking and additional trees. And then let it play itself out. Because we're trying to answer some questions that we don't know the answer to. And even if they say, well, we might do this, we might do that, we don't know what they're going to do.
And it shouldn't affect the issue at hand necessarily.
Yeah. If it's a sports court, I'm pretty sure they're going to fence it.
Maybe. So, I mean, is the city still going to have to go in and improve the massive pothole that's right there by the gutter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And just before he puts it on the schedule, he'd like to know if it's going to be 60 feet of repair or 95 feet of repair.
I mean, hey,
Okay.
it saves a few bucks. As far as storm drain, are these gutters running out from that fence line?
I believe so, yeah.
So it won't have any impact on storm water.
Yeah, they'll run out into Bunker Hill and wherever Bunker Hill rolls out to. That's where it will end up.
Okay. Other questions about our one and lone item on the agenda? All right. And then we had training to do today.
Yeah, so in lieu of Mr. Christopherson, we have Jamie Blakesley from our legal counsel give your Public Planning Commission training tonight. You've all met Jamie before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great.
I noticed that microphone's not plugged in, so I'll step over here.
Did you have a
And do it.
PowerPoint or anything you wanted to?
No, I'm just going to run through this quickly.
Okay.
This is just your Open and Public Meetings Act training, and I'm frankly not going to belabor it because you've all had it before and nothing has changed in a meaningful way in the statute. So We are required to do the training annually. I want you to have an opportunity to ask questions if you have them. So I'll run through just a really brief overview of the act, and then if you have questions about how it applies to you, I'm happy to answer them. As you know, the Utah Open and Public Meetings Act requires you to hold your meetings openly, to deliberate openly, and to make your decisions openly. That means the rule in the statute is that you hold open meetings, and then there is an occasional time when you might be able to go into a closed session to discuss something that relates to litigation. Some public bodies will go into closed sessions for matters that relate to personnel. I can't think of a reason a planning commission would be involved in a closed meeting on personnel, but if it did, you would be able to. The Open and Public Meetings Act applies to all public bodies. The short takeaway on that is that it applies to you as the Planning Commission, and so anytime you are together with a quorum of the Planning Commission, then it needs to be an open meeting. A quorum is just a simple majority of however many planning commissioners exist at a time. What counts as a meeting? Just remember that meetings can occur in person and meetings can occur electronically. And so if you have a quorum on a text string and you're doing more than just coordinating schedules for your next meeting or something personal, then it would need to be something that you handle or discuss in an open meeting. So just be wary of text strings, email strings, social media conversations about planning commission business. Where I see that most often come up is you'll have an applicant that will reach out to members of the planning commission and ask a question, and if you don't pay careful attention to how they ask it, you will have other members of the planning commission copied, and it can quickly turn into a conversation that by law needs to occur in an open meeting. Your meetings have to have a notice and an agenda. Notice is required at least 24 hours before the meeting occurs. You have some items that will be on your agenda that will require notice longer than that, but those are other statutory requirements. So if you're doing your general plan, it'll have a longer notice. If you're contemplating a land use ordinance that has a public hearing, you'll have a little bit longer notice period there. Just know that anytime you meet, before you can act on something, it has to have been noticed and have an agenda published. You can only take action on those items that are on the agenda. Conducting the meetings must be open and accessible. You are required to have reasonable rules for public comment. Votes must be taken in public. And again, electronic meetings are allowed if you have rules that allow it, and you do. The closed sessions, again, can occur on occasion. The items that would come to you for a closed session would relate to real property in most circumstances. Council will guide you through that when that occurs on how to do it, but the short rule on going into a closed session is it requires 2/3 vote. If you have 5 members present, then 2/3 would be 4 of those 5 members of the Planning Commission. You are required to keep minutes, recordings of your meetings, and to have those available to the public. The staff does a nice job of handling that for you, but just know that when you're meeting, it is being recorded, and that recording will be preserved. If the Open and Public Meetings Act is violated, somebody can sue the city, the court can void actions that are taken, and attorney's fees can be available in some circumstances. That really is the overview of the statute, and Again, I don't want to belabor it. I think each of you know it. I've been to your meetings. You abide by the Open and Public Meetings Act. Do you have any questions you want to discuss or talk through? If not, I think we can move on from the training.
So
Commissioner Barrett.
we had general plan discussion meetings where there was several planning commissioners there. And as long as there's not 4 planning commissioners, we're okay not to notice that. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. You have 7 on your body, right?
Right.
So, yes. As long as it's 3 or fewer, then you're okay.
Okay.
Because you don't
know
have a
how many
quorum present.
Typically, I'm just curious if that.
Yeah, at that particular situation, there was only the 2 of you.
Oh, I thought there was 3
Yeah.
or 4. All
I
right.
wanted to ensure, there were past commissioners there. I wanted to ensure that there wouldn't have been a problem with that, so
Okay.
that's mainly had
So
to.
in that case, though, you have to advertise just like a regular meeting? Okay, never mind. I think I
Correct.
do understand.
If you plan to have 4 people there or more from the planning commission, then you would just notice it as a public meeting, hold it as a public meeting, even if no action is taken. If you did not plan on having 4 present and you show up to a meeting and you see 3 of your peers are there, then one of you would have to peel off, or else you couldn't hold the meeting.
Okay.
What about like social engagement type events?
There's
We all
an
decide to
exception
have a
for
Christmas
social.
party.
Yeah, if you see each other at a holiday party or a concert or a neighborhood or a civic or religious activity, that's fine. You're not conducting business as the planning commissioner. Just don't use that social setting as an excuse to, huddle and talk about your business. But
Don't talk about upcoming decisions, but we can banter about previous ones.
right,
Okay.
right. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, that was the quickest and easiest training ever. I think you should be in charge of all of them. Yeah, like you got efficiency down, my sir. All right. Well, we've got 8 minutes till the official meeting begins, and it looks like we do have people here that are going to be here for that. So we will, 7 minutes, we will take a recess, close the work session, and come back at 6 o'clock for the official meeting. Thank you.
Is that mic not working at all? Interesting enough, today I was working on an HOA problem. We have an election going on there, advising our CCMS. In the meantime, I'm trying to comply with a couple of other laws that they've never complied with, which has become my duty to try and work with.
It's nice that you have this room.
But we have this bid for a contract.
Sometimes it gets to show me.
That's never been done, even though it's been state law for a long time. And now we have someone we're interested in doing, and then even though we had a meeting last week, we have the answers to the rest of our questions and that, and so they wanted to go ahead and approve the contract. No, it's a contract. We can't do it outside of a public, a meeting that the owners can come to.
Yeah.
And then, and they know I'm going to say stuff like this, and then I said, well, Saturday we're getting together to see if we've got another week and a half left on the vote, but we know who's voted and who hasn't, and we need to get everyone to vote. We're a nonprofit, so if you don't vote, it's a no.
Yeah.
Okay, and so far we're only have 50% of the people voting, which is kind of what we thought, but okay, so we're going to kind of divide up the list and reach out to people and say, can we help you fill out the form? Do you need any questions answered, whatever. And I said, well, since we're all going to be standing around having this discussion in a non-meeting, just notice it as a meeting. And then we can also just put on there consideration of reserve study proposal, and then we're okay. Right. But two of the 5 people privately told me that they don't understand why we want to let owners know what we're doing. And like,
Well, you get appointed to the board, right?
Well, they've run a really loose ship for a long time.
So,
and they know. I mean, I think intellectually they know that but no one ever cared. Okay. And then, now I'm on the board, and I'm kind of saying, okay, I know their goal is to have me be president at some point. Okay. I would like to fix these things before.
right, like have a little bit of rules
Yeah,
of consistency.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm grateful I don't live in an HOA.
Yeah.
I'm sure it has its merits and its good points at times, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's good. I don't mind doing it, but I spend more time changing light bulbs on our 104 security lights than I do in meetings.
Yeah.
But, you know, just like anywhere else, people, you know, don't like to hear no. So we've got 2 or 3 in the last 2 weeks, you know, no things, no, you can't put up this change to our exterior because we don't want it. And no, we don't want to let you rent your condo in a senior community to a non-senior, and that, and,
My son, it would be great.
yeah, it's not the same. That's the problem. It's,
John, we just sent my conference thing, just want you to just look at it to make sure.
So do we have to do it as a PDF now?
No, it's just a little bit, simply made it easier.
I mean, I hate to kill trees, but have you already printed one?
Did you already print one?
No, did you print any?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. I'll take a look at it then. I'm sure I've got it still in my inbox. Can you scroll on the packet down to the minutes just so I can double check and make sure I actually read them?
I did not complete the minutes.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
yeah, no minutes.
well then let's not vote on those tonight.
I would agree.
We can just trust it, right?
One meeting that was decided that we were going to write the minutes, and I've been putting it off. I tried to get through them on Friday, but transcribing meetings is not.
No, it's not it's an art.
Terry does a good job.
Yeah. That's another thing that the HOA has never done is categorize their records management, which is required by law. And they said, well, we just get rid of the stuff when it gets old. I said, well, I got sad news for you under state law. These are permanent records. You can never get rid of them. You might move them to the state archives, but you can't.
There was a fire.
It's just fun.
You'll get them up to speed.
It's fun. We have one person who is concerned about the changes in the CC&Rs. It's an attorney. Still practicing attorney. Thank goodness she's a criminal attorney, not a civil. But when we finally talked, she rattled my chain about, well, I didn't know this and I didn't know that. And I said, well, you know, we had 2 public meetings, we had information meetings, we sent out a copy of that. We offer a red line version if you want a 92-page red line version. We did a 2-page summary for people who wanted just a summary. And then all of a sudden, now that the ballot's out, you act like you've never seen any of this and that. Well, I've been busy. Well, okay, I get it. And then she said, well, and after all, we're all seniors. That's why we live here. And so you've given us this deadline by January 31st, and we need more time. More time. You've had the ballot, the paper copy, you know, for 6 weeks, and that over the holidays and everything and that. And she finally, I said, so what is your question? And then she asked me, I said, okay, and I walked her through it, and she said, oh, well, okay, that makes more sense. And I go, okay.
Glad I could help moving.
Yeah.
All right. You ready, John?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right, good evening, everyone. Oh, I guess I should turn this on. There we go. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Holladay City Planning Commission, January 20th, 2026. We have Commissioners Barrett, Gong, Cunningham, and Roach present with the city staff and council. We have one public hearing item today, and then our action item, approval of minutes, will be postponed to a later date. And with that, I'm not entirely sure if we have members of the public here, but just to cover our bases, I've asked Commissioner Gong if she'd go ahead and read our opening statement for the benefit thereof.
The City of Holladay Planning Commission is a volunteer citizen board whose function is to review land use plans and other special studies, make recommendations to the City Council on proposed zoning map and ordinance changes, and approve conditional uses and subdivisions. The Planning Commission does not initiate yet land use applications, rather acts on applications as they are submitted. Commissioners do not meet with applicants except at publicly noticed meetings. Commissioners attempt to visit each property on the agenda where the location, the nature of the neighborhood, existing structures, and uses related to the proposed change are noted. Decisions are based on observations, recommendations from the professional planning staff, the city's general plan, zoning ordinance, and other reports, by all verbal and written comments, and by evidence submitted, all of which are part of the public record.
Thank you, Commissioner Gong. And with that, we will roll right into our first item tonight, which is the partial vacation of a public street, 1720 East, 4900 South, AKA Bunker Hill Road Drive. So with that, city staff, if you can walk us through that.
If you're all right, I'll stay on this side so I can both drive and talk at the same, we'll see how it goes.
Sounds great.
Thank you, Chair Roach. Application tonight brought to you from the the Technical Review Committee, is a legislative request to vacate a portion of 1720 East at approximately 4900 South. The application is brought to the city by applicants Todd and Marilyn Porter as abutting property owners, and the request is to vacate an unused portion of the public right-of-way. This area originally was likely intended and platted to continue to the north. However, when Woodbridge Condominiums was developed, that street grid plan did not continue through that property and dead ends approximately 100 feet off of Bunker Hill Road to the north. Over the past few years, this has mainly been snow storage from pushing snow through 1720 East right to the dead end of the road, and largely is an unused portion of the public right-of-way. This process is actually a legislative review and is given the standards by approving public rights-of-way to be deeded to private property owners is directed to you by state code, and our ordinance is crafted around that state code. Vacating streets normally is seen as closing streets or completely removing a public road. However, the process is a little bit different when it's a partial vacation or of a right-of-way, a public right-of-way, or the realignment of a public right-of-way. In any case, it's a city council decision with a planning commission recommendation. The Technical Review Committee reviews these applications specifically in light of public access and as a part of the public realm. And specifically some of the elements that we're looking for that surround the idea of good cause. We're maintaining access for the emergency services, which would be ambulance and fire. They have some specific dimensional standards for turnarounds. The highlighted area shown in the exhibit represents what would be left of an area that would be maintained as public turnaround for a fire truck. That would be the area that is being proposed to be vacated as partial vacation of 1720 East. Most of the public good is still maintained as part of public right-of-way. I mean, the street is developed with sidewalk and park strip. However, as a largely dead-end road, Bunker Hill really serves no through access for the neighborhood. So that turnaround is extremely important for emergency services and fire trucks. Staff has provided the Planning Commission with a set of recommended findings and provided a recommendation to approve the partial vacation with a recommendation to the City Council. If you have any other questions, I'll be happy to take those for you.
Commissioners, any question for city staff? Okay. And with that, if this is a petition from the city, I guess there's no applicant to invite up, so.
Petition from property owners. I do have the Porters that are here tonight.
Okay. Do we have any questions for the residents we'd like them to come forward, or should we just open the public meeting?
Just do the public.
Okay, then with that, we'll go ahead and open up the public hearing, and anyone can make a comment on this item if they wish at this time. We just ask that you state your name and address for the record. Once, twice, maybe? Oh,
My name is Harold Bateman. I live at 1694 Bunker Hill Road, and I've lived there for over 50-plus years. And I am here in support of what the Porters want to do. I think it would help beautify our neighborhood to have them in control of that part. The city has done really nothing to pave or to clean. In the 50 years, I don't ever remember anyone ever doing anything like that. And their immaculate yard speaks for itself, and I would definitely support them in what they're doing. I think it would help our neighbor. Thank you.
thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Val Pope. I live at 1737 East Bunker Hill Road, on the east side of the Porters. I'm here to support this vacation and letting him acquire it. I'll express Todd's immaculate yard very well. In fact, he keeps me on my toes because I live next door to him. It's a pleasure living next door to the Porters. They're very, very community oriented. They interact well with the neighbors. I don't see any reason why not to. I really don't. If anything, it would help keep that area cleaner and maybe even get some asphalt put on that road a little bit once in a while. I know it's needed for trucks to turn around, and so he's not asking for all of it. I fully support it 100%. Thank you.
Thank you.
I realize you didn't have, Todd Porter. I'm one of the applicants, right? I live at the corner lot there at 4901 South, 1720 East. I am the only person that lives on that street, me and my wife, I should say. We are addressed on that street is a better way to put it. One of the pictures that was just up will show that there is a pothole on one end of that street that is larger than a car. And in the 30 years that we've owned the house, nothing's ever been done to the street. It's become, it's really hurting my curb appeal. As you've heard my neighbors explain, I'm quite meticulous with my yard. I take pride in it. I want it to look great. And then my front door faces the street, and that's the start of my curb appeal, is this road that's terribly deficient in any kind of appeal. In talking with John and some of the others, the names are slipping my mind, the paving department, it seemed beneficial to both parties that if we could work something out, their responsibility for paving would be roughly half or less, saving the city some money, which has seemed to have been a problem because we've been knocking on this door, if you will, borderline harassment about getting the street paved. And this opportunity came up, and I think what I'm just trying to say is I think it's beneficial to both parties. And appreciate your time here today.
Thank you.
Question?
Yes,
Whose trailers are these parked in?
those are mine. They're no longer there.
Okay, well, I'm just, because weren't we talking about parking if there was, once the vacation happens, parking the trailers on the remaining street? Wasn't there a problem with that?
We were concerned about the fire,
Turnaround.
if that's a fire turnaround, if there are vehicles parked there.
Are you planning on putting a fence across or just leaving it open?
couple of different opportunities are coming up. There would be some type of obvious border. A sport court is coming into play. There's plenty of room for one as we look into that, going down that path. But no, we would not be parking out there. I see plenty of landscapers and trailers who are using that to back up, and when there are cars parked there, it makes it very difficult for them. So no, if you'll see that when I was using it, I was all the way to the back end, way past the recommended 60 feet that is for that type of street.
Well, I don't care if you park your vehicles on the street. I'm just saying, if the vacation happens, you won't be able to park your trailers on the public street. You'd have to park them on your private property.
Absolutely.
That's all.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, unless there's any other comments, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And I'd just like to clarify with city staff. So with the vacation of the property, would it all be exclusively going to the Porter's property, or would it be split also with the property on the whatever side that is, across the way from them?
As the application has been presented to the city by one property owner, it would be deeded to the one property owner.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless in the meantime, they decide to split it in half and then have it divided, but as of now, it's wholly deeded to the Porters.
Okay.
For some reason, I thought that anytime a street is vacated, it always gets subdivided so that each property adjacent to it takes that portion.
Some cities do have that specifically written into their ordinance, especially if you dead end a road. You just take exactly the halves. Like, for example, all of Bunker Hill, the north half goes to those property owners, the south half goes to that side. We really specifically don't have that provision in our ordinance, but yeah. That, I think from
In regards to the property owners across the street, I'm the only one that's been taking care of that street for the entire time we've been there. I have to do weed mitigation on their side, their parking strip. I do weed mitigation in the middle of the street because the cracks, it grows there as well. They've never had really anything to do with this portion of the street. They're not adding any value to our neighborhood at all with the care that they're taking care of their property. So I would hate to see that they get half of it and then it just continues to look like it does.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify on that.
Yeah,
So.
before you sit down though, when we make a recommendation, there's a set of findings. Have you reviewed those findings in the packet that came to you as part of the notice of the meeting? Were they included in the?
did you get an
packet?
email from Justice? Okay.
If I can, they'll save me reading them later, but yeah, if you can be reading along with me and that. I just don't want to make a motion with findings and then just refer to findings that you've never read. Because they're rather detailed for this kind of a thing and that. So all property subject to this application will remain in compliance with R18 zoning regulations and standards. No new property, lots, or right-of-way will be created by the application. If approved and combined with existing parcels, a lot consolidation and subdivision amendment shall be completed. If the city conveys the vacated land to adjacent property owners without sale or appraised market value, the property owner to the west shall be consulted, as they may have rights to the center line of the street. United Fire Authority, UFA, requires a 60-foot measured from the center line of Bunker Hill Road north of 1720 East be designated as a fire department access turnaround with an additional 10 feet reserved for snow storage. Good cause for the vacation is established based on the following findings, which is what we would hopefully do. And that, and no, let's see, I think that's, yeah, there's language in number 8 about the added area shown will not provide subdivision opportunity, added building height, or additional land uses not currently enjoyed by the property within the vicinity. Does anything on there cause you any concern or something we ought to talk about specifically? I know those are kind of technical things that staff would like us to make sure is included.
I don't see anything here.
Okay. I just don't want to be surprised that suddenly we say we're adopting all these findings and then you realize that, oh, yeah. For example, a sports court, I assume, would be allowed on this property regardless of whether we add the, and then.
And then, if I may, I just wanted to throw out one other finding on there that's not in the packet, which, being a Tree City USA, we're all about street trees. And so either adding a tree in the park strip on 1720 or within the parcel that would be deeded to you, at least one tree, so we're putting back some of the canopy that we need in this community.
Okay, yeah. I had to cut those down. They were tearing up the sidewalk and the gutter.
Yeah, put the right tree in the right place is our motto, so.
They weren't right.
Yeah, and we would just say along 1720, we wouldn't, that's up to you, where you put it.
Yeah. And then did we want to put any kind of things in the motion as far as no parking, just to ensure fire access has appropriate turnaround space, whether it's on the west or east side of 1720?
I mean, that would make sense. I mean, we're maximizing the area specifically for a turnaround.
Or would we just say no parking on the entire square of it?
Mm-hmm.
Of the part of the road that would remain.
Of 1720 east that's not being vacated, right? I mean, you can make no parking on his part, but we don't care. Okay.
Is that something Public Works would just put up the sign saying no parking?
We would install that. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sorry, I'm looking for the line that from Bunker Hill, is that 60 feet then? Is that how you came up with where that line is drawn?
From the center line, from where my cursor is kind of going back and forth here, from the center line of Bunker back 60 feet, that's where the dimension starts.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, we'll have you sit down. Thank you. All right. And commissioners, I think we've talked about this in the work meeting. Any further discussion needed on this before a motion's made?
Did we close the public hearing?
I did.
Good. We're getting better at this.
Yeah, we're on it.
In that case, I would be happy to move to recommend approval of the partial street vacation at the intersection of 1720 East and Bunker Hill Road on behalf and in benefit of 4901 South 1720 East, Lot 97 of Crown Colony, a residential subdivision in the R110 zone, upon finding that the subdivision, and we'll just make reference to the 8 recommended findings in the agenda, and with the additional requirements that there be at least one tree added inside the vacated area or along 1720 East upon any improvements made to it, and 2, that appropriate parking signage or fire laning designation be made to preserve the remaining area as a fire turnaround.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
Commissioner Gong seconds. All right, we'll start down here with the vote. Commissioner Barron?
Aye.
Commissioner Gong?
Aye.
Commissioner Cunningham?
Aye.
And Chair Roach votes aye. So with that, we'll move that forward with the favorable recommendation. And with the approval of minutes being pushed to a future meeting, that takes us to the end of our agenda tonight. So whipped right through it, and I will call to close this meeting. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Anybody want to stay late? All right, with that, we're done.